How to stamp your nails at home. If you've typed this into a search engine and you've found a lot of videos, maybe watched some of mine, but you've tried it and it hasn't worked out, this one's going to be for you. What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer. Today's video is a lot different. This is a new start of a new series called Master Your Mani, where I get one of my subscribers to send me videos of something that they would like help on. I show their video within mine, and then I show you some tips and tricks on what they were needing improvement on, and then some things that I do differently and how we can help them improve, which means how I can help all of you improve. So I'm going to start first before we get into the stamping, just with doing my base of the manicure that I had on in the beginning in the picture. I'm going to do a bunch of stamping on it, and I always like to start with dip powder as my base. I wanted to do just like a fun fall mani, just because before, I jump hardcore into the Christmas ones, it was time to give fall some love. So this is actually my first collaboration with Clear Jelly Stamper. They sent me a really fun PR package of a bunch of different stamping polishes, plates, and I've been using their products now for the past few years. Absolutely love it. I'm sure you've seen them in other of my videos. If you've watched any of my stamping videos, I pretty much always start with a dip powder base just because I love dips. I love there's a million different colors you can get. I have builder gel down on my natural nails, so I already have my apex built, which means I only need to do 2 dips of the dip powder and then 1 of clear before I can go in with any nail art, or I sometimes don't do any nail art. When I'm doing my 2 dips, I prefer the pour over method. I've just found that for me, doing pour overs with solids and shimmers works so much better. I don't get weird, big, lumpy nails when I try to like dip my finger in. And then we're going to do a chunky glitter for my ring and pinky, and those I'll lay my nail flat. So anytime I'm dipping glitters, flakes, or foils, I actually lay my nail flat onto those. I'm able to get a nice application doing that. It just really helps me to keep them from getting thick. And then whenever I do solids or shimmers first, which I do like to do first before I get into any glitters, flakes, or foils, I like to go through and add my clear dip powder over the top and then activate it. This way, when my glitters or the flakes or the foils are flying around, I'm not contaminating my solids and shimmers with whatever other powder that I'm using. The 2 dips that I'm using are from OG Dip Powder. The tan neutral type color is called Cool Cool Cool, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. That's from a Brooklyn Nine-Nine inspired collection. And then the beautiful chunky glitter is called If I Only Had a Brain, from a Wicked inspired, or a Wizard of Oz inspired collection. I love neutral type manis, and I have not done a lot lately, so I'm trying to like add in a bunch of those, and I feel like I'll probably will do some neutral manis for Christmas as well. I really love wearing neutral colors, even though like you see me wear a million different colors. At this point, I pretty much will try any color. There are some that I look at and I'm like, that just doesn't feel like me, but if someone said, hey, you should try that one, I'd be like, okay. I don't know. I've been doing my nails for 5 years, and probably by my low estimate have like 1,500-ish dips, maybe 1,500. I don't know. I'm kind of just in denial, refusing to count, but I just really like trying a lot of different kinds. So this gorgeous If I Only Had a Brain, it's got like these glitters, it's got the shards in it. It is so gorgeous for fall, and really I feel like you could wear this a lot of different times, like depending on what you want to do. I wanted to do a scarecrow mani, since the glitter was called If I Only Had a Brain after the Wizard of Oz. Ended up being so beautiful. I was really sad when this mani popped off. So you'll notice as I'm dipping the chunky glitter, I really try to make sure that I keep my dip base thin, and that helps me keep my layers thin. So you always want to do a higher number of thinner layers than a lower number of thicker layers. And since I only need to do 2 layers of dip powder, since I have builder gel down as my base, I really try to carefully apply the dip liquids thinly. Plus, when I'm doing a chunky glitter, I really like to shake up the little dip cup that I'm using and make sure all the big pieces come up to the top for the second dip. This way I really don't have to hand place any, maybe just a few. And for this one, I think I hand placed a couple. I didn't include that because our focus on this video is stamping. So once I finish applying my chunky glitters, then I go in with my layer of clear so I can protect it, activate it. And once my nails harden, then I can do some buffing, filing, and shaping. Then we're gonna get into the stamping, which I am so excited for. So we're gonna start with my nail friends videos first, and I did them in real time. I left them in real time so I can talk through what she's doing and give some tips and tricks. The first thing I noticed about my nail friend stamping is that she's applying the polish a little bit more than what I would. So she's going over the image a lot more. You don't need to go over the image so much because when you scrape, that's when you're pulling the stamp or the stamping polish like over the image. So that was the first thing I noticed, that there was just too much polish being added over and over, and then when she scraped it, just the image was not going to pick up just from the start. So she goes in for her second one, and the thing that I noticed too on that was still like applying what I would say is too many strokes of the stamping polish over the image. And then she definitely is scraping a little bit slower than what I would recommend. I noticed when I scrape too slow that sometimes the image doesn't pick up correctly. What I loved that she was doing was that she was rolling the stamper in the opposite direction that she scrapes. So that's something I highly recommend. Anytime that you're rolling your stamper over, doing it in the opposite direction you scraped just really helps. And something else that she was doing correctly was she was scraping at about a 45-degree angle. That's what you want to scrape at. So you can see here on that one that there's some pieces missing from there. Not the whole image was picked up, but it's getting better. So I noticed there was definitely some good pieces being picked up. And a lot of it just takes practice. So once she starts doing less stamping polish, like less going over the image over and over, scraping just a little bit faster, and then rolling over like she's still doing, she's got a lot of basics down really well. I think that she's going to absolutely love stamping. Here is how the image looked. You can see it was definitely a better pickup, but there are still some missing pieces. Now, this one I'm going to show you what she did wrong. The way that she swiped, the pressure just wasn't applied evenly. And whenever that happens, you get these weird streaks. Like sometimes there can be a little bit of streak, but if there's a big streak like that, it's not going to pick up correctly, and you're going to pick up some of the streaks from the stamping polish. So this last attempt that she's doing was the one that turned out the best. She definitely put a good amount of stamping polish on. I would say that you don't need that much, but she scraped strong enough and at a 45-degree angle that she was able to get it off, and then rolled in the opposite direction gently, which I noticed sometimes she was pressing down too hard, and this one was a much gentler pickup. So the pickup onto the stamp was really nice and even, and then she pressed it down onto the swatch stick and kind of like rolled it back and forth, which is super great to do if you have an image that's a full image. And I'm going to show you ways to improve how you do your stamping and give you some examples of the things I did wrong. So the first thing I like to do when I'm stamping is I like to clean my stamping plate off. And this is my first collaboration with Clear Jelly Stamper. I got all these beautiful stamping polishes and some really fun fall plates. I wanted to do a scarecrow design because the one color that I'm wearing is called If I Only Had a Brain. So doing layered stamping is definitely something that takes practice. To me, it's actually been the hardest thing, not even to pick up the image, but to get the to get the stamps to line up correctly. So to actually get them to line up and be seen was something that I have struggled with, just because my eyes, like, it doesn't see how to place it correctly. I don't know why. I think maybe my depth perception sometimes is off, but I love doing all these little stamps that you like build the images by layering, and you have all these little pieces so you can customize the colors. And I was doing the body, it was like a pumpkin body and a scarecrow head at the end, so I was doing mostly these like oranges and the dark bronzes and browns. I felt like it was just perfect to go with this gorgeous glitter. Top of my scarecrow hat part kind of like turned out a little bit funny where the scarecrow like straw was supposed to be poking out, but that's okay. I just went with it because that's what's so fun about stamping. Even though I applied it a little bit off center, when I did the final stamped image to like pull it all together, the final layer, it ended up looking super cute. I loved it. Some of the big differences from when I was stamping compared to my nail friend stamping is I'm not going over the stamped image with the polish very much. I'm just barely applying it over, swiping really quickly over the image in a 45-degree angle, nice and quick. And then I very gently roll the stamper over. That's another key to picking up the images that I've noticed a lot of people struggle with, is rolling the stamper over gently. So my nail friend was rolling it in the correct direction, but I could tell she was just pressing down too hard. When you roll the stamper over gently, you actually get a better pickup. And then I like to use some kind of masking tape or washi tape, something like that, to pull off any of the pieces that I don't want stamped onto my nail. Now, of course, there are going to be times where like I'm just not paying attention or I'm tired and I don't scrape, nicely. I may be pressed too hard, but those are things that you learn as you're stamping, that you want to be really gentle. You want to scrape quickly and firmly at a 45-degree angle. What I like to do with my last stamp, like when you're doing a layered stamp, I like to use a dark image at the end. This way, I feel like it really pops the image. So you either want to do your dark colors first and then go in with like white or a light color, or do your light colors first and then go in with a white. So on my little leaf, I went in with the darker colors first and then did the white over top, and then those were able to pop. So the plate that my friend was using, because it was like strictly just straight images and you weren't building anything up, you definitely have to be more precise. When you're doing a stamp like this and you're layering, you can kind of like freestyle it a little bit. It doesn't have to be as perfect. And that's something that for me, I actually have been wanting to work on, so that if I mess up a stamp, it's okay. I can not have to have it perfectly. Now on my thumb, this is where I struggle. I struggle to apply my stamps in the right places. Like I've got my image picking up down where you can see that I'm scraping a bit quicker than my friend did. I don't put as much polish on. I just make sure I put enough polish either to cover the image or cover like part of the image, that when I scrape the polish down, then the whole image is being covered by the polish. I really love the Clear Jelly Stamper XL stamper, which the XL Bling stamper is just so nice because you can see right through it. Then once you're totally done with all of your stamping, you want to make sure you let it completely dry before you go in and add a smudge-free top coat over top. The smudge-free top coat is going to protect it. And this is the way that I'm able to still use dip liquids to do my top coating by doing the Maniology smudge-free top coat, or any smudge-free top coat. You completely let that dry, preferably for 10 minutes, and then you can go in and do your top coating with your dip liquids like you normally do. If you don't want to use dip liquids, you can just go in after you use your smudge-free top coat. You can go in with a really shiny nail polish top coat. That works as well. I do like to use dip liquids to do my top coating. I'm using OG dip powders. And what I do is I make sure that when I'm applying my activator, that I try to float it over my nails. I don't press down so hard into my nails that have the smudge-free top coat on. I notice it just ends up like kind of getting stuck to it a little bit, even though it's totally dry. So I very gently float the activator over. I do my heavy activator on 5 nails, count to 10, then go back to my thumb and do my first layer of my dip top coating in 2 to 3 quick even strokes that I float over as well. Just glide that brush over, and then I immediately go in with my second layer of top coat. If you are still needing help with your stamping, make sure you check out this next video and I will help you. Thanks for joining me today, nail crew.